Hello, my name is Caleb Coffey, and for this presentation, I will be covering the flight scenario baseball trip. A friend from work and I are planning a trip to see the Tampa Bay Rays and Texas Rangers baseball game. By car, the trip is 335 miles and it will take approximately 4 hours and 45 minutes, and by air, it will take 1 hour and 45 minutes. My boss has asked me to drop off a business proposal at a branch office in Tampa and has offered the company's Piper Seneca for the trip. Because this flight is incidental to the company's business and there's no compensation for myself as pilot in command or for the use of the company's aircraft by the sole passenger, my coworker and friend, the flight is compliant with the Federal Aviation Regulations, specifically Part 91, which covers general operation and flight rules. As pilots, we should always have a plan before we begin each flight. My flight plan is from Savannah Hilton Head International to Albert Whitted Airport in St. Petersburg, Florida. The flight should be about an hour and 45 minutes. We'll burn almost 50 gallons of fuel, which will get us to Albert Whitted without making a fuel stop. I use ForeFlight for the bulk of my flight planning activities to include filing the flight plan, but turn to the pilot's operating handbook for equipment, performance, weight and balance charts, and information. For airport departure and arrival information, I will listen to ATIS, AWOS, or ASOS for airport information to include current weather conditions, notices to airmen, arrival and departure runways, and other timely and critical information. I will review sectional chart information to avoid terrain such as radio towers and airspace such as military operating areas and active times along our route. Well, plans change. I got up early the day of the flight and wasn't surprised to find that the weather had changed significantly overnight from VFR to IFR conditions in the local area. Fortunately, I am an instrument-rated pilot and immediately began preparing an IFR flight plan, which thankfully simplified when using Boeing's ForeFlight Flight Bag app. The Seneca's performance and weight and balance information is preloaded into ForeFlight, which helps greatly. I also leveraged the weather features of the app, which allows me to self-brief. Before I headed to the airport, I called the local FBO and had them add 12 gallons to each of the wing's fuel tanks so that I would have the required fuel reserves for IFR flight and check that the oxygen tanks are full. I also logged into the company's flight department website so that I can verify the plane's pitot-static dates and that the plane is cleared for IFR flight. To be sure, I checked these items again when I arrived at the airport and during my pre-flight checks. The flight has new external pressures and stress that are different from what I previously planned for. So I go through the I'm safe, pave, decide, and 5 P's checklists. I double check my logbook to make sure that the required entries are there for IFR currency. I call my friend and inform him of the change in plans and let him know that he is being recruited to assist with non-pilot related tasks during the flight. Even with the change of plans, we were still able to depart close to original departure time, thanks in part to the automated flight planning tools as well as the local FBO's quick response in getting the Seneca serviced and ready for flight. The Seneca's Garmin G750 and Flight Stream really helped ease my workload through all phases of flight. Garmin's Flight Stream allowed us to integrate the iPad and ForeFlight app, giving us an extra display for displaying weather, traffic, and the moving map allowed George and I to track and verify our progress. Soon after crossing the Georgia and Florida border, the weather improved greatly and I was able to cancel our IFR flight plan and fly the rest of the route under visual flight rules. ForeFlight Route Planner allowed me to quickly transition from IFR to VFR and map out a route that would allow us to avoid restricted airspace like Disney World's TFR, MacDill Air Force Base, and stay clear of large radio towers that are common in Florida and sync it with the Garmin G750 flight display. We also took this opportunity to fly along the Gulf Coast prior to landing at Albert Whitted. Since George and I were not old enough to rent a car, we Ubered over to the Tampa branch office to deliver the boss's business proposal and made it to the stadium in time for the first pitch. We stayed an extra day for me to get 8 hours of rest before our return flight. We are both thankful for the gift of aviation and how it made this trip possible.